everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Rupkata Bhattacharya and you are watching my channel which is named after me because I lack creativity. In today's video, we are going to talk about why Crier's War is a superior YA duology, and it's time people accept that. I'm not saying this because this has exquisite sapphic pining. I mean, partially yes, but I'm also saying it because it's just superior than all of the books out there. I mean, the sapphic pining, you can't get enough of it. The main characters, they are just that good. So with no further ado, let's talk about why this is that good. I mean, I am very biased to it because it is one of my favorite books. I love this so much, and also because the author is releasing a series of short stories featuring the main characters from this book after the events that took place in the duology. So firstly, why this is so good is because of the creativity of the plot. A lot of YA books, especially enemies to lovers books, have the same old formula, the same old plot, the same old world building. There's a war going on for some reason. Either fairies or some kind of mythical creatures are involved, and the main character falls in love with someone from the other side or is forced to ally with them to achieve some quest that will be integral for the movement of the plot, and the first book is usually on achieving that quest or doing something regarding it, and overall we have read the same thing over and over and over again. Crier's War breaks away from the formula. It tries something new, and that I adored. The plot revolves around this world where autome or robots that function on this specific kind of element have taken over the world. They were originally created to be slaves for humans, but when they had enough, they decided that they were much stronger than humans and did not need to be ruled by them, or actually did not even require the existence of humans. So our main character, Varela, is an orphan because of the war that took place between the autome and the human. And she has only one goal in her entire life, that is to take revenge from the autome who ordered the massacre of her village, killing her family, the sovereign, and she wants to inflict the same pain on the sovereign that he had inflicted on her, killing his family, and she is willing to achieve that by killing Lady Crier, the daughter of the sovereign. Now, Lady Crier is one of the perfect automates to exist, and throughout her childhood, she has this preconceived notion of how she is going to succeed the sovereign as the next. But that does not come true when she realizes her father's true intentions are to marry her off to a revolutionary, Skyr Keenock. Crier is obviously not at all happy with it, and things lead to another, which leads to Ayla being hired as Crier's handmaiden, and from there starts the tumultuous journey of the Crier's War duology. So the plot itself was something that I had not read in a long time. Most books, YA books now follow one simple formula and just alter one or two things to actually make it a unique book, not really unique, but to not fall into a lawsuit of plagiarism. Next up, what I really liked about this one was the pacing of both the books. A lot of duologies have this recurring problem in them where the first book has a really on and off pacing. It will start off slow, go really fast in the middle, go really slow, and overall is a really bumpy ride. But Crier's War tried really hard to maintain a proper pacing through both the books. The first book for debut author was excellent. The pacing was on spot. We were not info dumped throughout the entirety of the book. My only problem was that there was this huge info dumping timeline. If you don't read it, it does not really matter because the author skillfully reveals every single information in the book. But the timeline at the beginning kills the mood by a bit. But every book has a small problem, and Crier's War's one is pretty negligible. Next up, the characters themselves. Now, a lot of books with the enemies to lovers trope or I was sent to kill you trope have this sort of thing where the relationship turns out to be really toxic. The characters don't go through proper development as individuals. The relationship obviously has no development because of the prior reason, and third, they don't have any strong relationships with other people other than the love interest. Crier's War does not make any of those mistakes. Both Crier and Ayla go through significant amount of development as individuals. The relationship between them develops very smoothly, very nicely, and has major events that leads to them growing closer, and that is properly shown to the reader and not just told to us. One thing that I really liked is how Crier and Ayla's were emotions were written on page, how they were clearly stated. We knew what was going on through the heads of these characters, even though they didn't know what was going on in the heads of each other or themselves, really. Crier and Ayla's feelings were tangibly written. They were real human beings. It felt like they were very well fleshed out, and I could just see them right in front of me. Other things that I liked were the side characters. All the side characters had motives, they were well developed, and overall played an integral part to the story. This was not one of those books where a group of two people achieve everything, or a group of the main cast and their best friends achieve everything. We had a lot of side characters who were introduced throughout the book, characters who did a lot to advance the plot of this book. Secondly, I'll talk more about the characters, which is that Crier and Ayla were two very different characters. And the way the author wrote them into relationship, they just fit together. They are so very different characters who fit so well together, and that is a fact that stands for the author's immense skill. I mean, at this point, I am just making stuff up to convince you to read this book. I mean, this is the epitome of an underrated, awesome book. I don't get why so many people are reading a lot of popular books that are really not good at this one. I mean, Crier's War, you have to read it. I mean, if I did not have just my last shred of self control and dignity left, I would bang this into the camera, but I won't because I do have that shred left. Next, what I want to talk about is the world building. The world building is significant to this book. It has two kingdoms led by two different peoples, the automate, the people. There's this huge history written for this book that I think we could, like, the author could write a book solely on the history of the world, and I would read it. In this book too, the author has revealed small amounts of the world, small amounts of history, chapter by chapter. Again, there's no info dumping, which I really like. A lot of good books are spoiled by the immense amount of info dumping that authors do. I mean, info dumping, we all hate that. Why would I want to read pages and pages about the history of the world when I can just read another book? But Nina Varela knows how to avoid info dumping. Everything about the history of the world, about the history of the characters themselves, about the world's autonomy, the religious autonomy, the hierarchy of the governments, the way they function, everything is written wonderfully and revealed to the reader in a way that the reader just eats it up. To sum up everything that I said in this video in one line, go read Crier's War, or I will force you to read it. I mean, this video is just me trying to convert you into a Crier's War fan. The Crier's War duology is one of the books that one should read before they die. This is one of the best SFF or science fiction and fantasy works out there. I would definitely buy this if you go to the bookstore next time. If you see this in your bookstore shelf, get it. It's totally worth it. So that was it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Comments can literally be anything, just don't spam. I mean, you can spam if you want to, I don't really mind. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss videos which I post every week. That makes 4 videos 1 month. So that was it. Be safe during this pandemic, and goodbye.